Okay, hi everyone. This is Dennis Becker from $5bucksaday.com, earn1kaday.com. Thanks for joining us today. What I want to do is I want to go through sort of my history, a little bit about my life story, and not a whole lot. We're not going to go through 60 years of plus of all the trials and tribulations I've gone through, but I have a bunch of my friends on the call here with me today. Michael Gunn, Teresa Miller, Rachel Rofe, my partner, and Gene Pimentel is going to be joining us too. He's a little bit late arriving. I think he's having some login problems, but they're going to keep me honest. They're going to ask me the questions, the hard questions that I may try to avoid. I want to be very, very thorough about the topic, and I want to make sure that everybody gets something out of this particular webinar. So just a little brief bit about me. I started my first career, I guess, out of college was as a programmer in a small town, well, medium-sized town in Erie, Pennsylvania, northwestern Pennsylvania. And I was a programmer there for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. And I was recruited by a little software company in New Jersey as a tech support rep. So I moved my family. My wife was pregnant at the time. We moved to New Jersey, and I spent time there supporting a little known and no longer available software product, and I was a tech support manager, and I used to train people and try to solve people's problems with the software and so on. After 4 years of that, I decided that I was a little bit bored doing that, so I was encouraged by a few of the customers that I worked with while I was at the software company to form a little consulting company. And doing that, I ended up going to different big and small companies all over the world, or not over the world, but all over the country, doing training, doing programming, doing design work for people's online systems and so on. I did that for 8 years, and with all the travel and with a young son, I pretty much burned out. So at that point in time, I decided, well, I'm tired of this, so I made another career change. I decided to get into retail in my hometown, which is a small town in New Jersey where I live. And I set up shop in town. It started out as a baseball card store, believe it or not, but my son was interested in baseball cards, and I was when I was a kid, so it sounded like a fun thing to do. So we got a store, and it diversified into a lot of different collectibles over the years, comics and Beanie Babies and sports memorabilia and so on. And that was pretty good for a while, but after I'd done that for, I guess it was, well, we started that in 1989. In 1998, things weren't looking so spectacular as far as business, because the economic cycle had turned from boom to bust in my particular niche market in collectibles. So I was looking around for things to help me make a little bit more money, to get money into the door so I could pay the bills. And one of my friends turned me on to a site called eBay, and I had never heard of it at the time. I'm sure everybody in this call has. And eBay, he explained to me, was an auction place. And I said, auctions? That's where you get up and you have this fast talker that's always trying to trim up the price from $5, $10, $15, and so on. He said, no, it's not like that at all. It's an online thing, and people will bid on your merchandise, and you can sell it. So he was doing pretty good with it. So I said, okay, let me take a look at this. So that was actually my first experience with the internet. And I got onto eBay, and I started selling some of the stuff that I was selling in my store, except I was selling like 1,000 times more of it because I was selling all over the world. So that ended up being pretty good for a while, and it got to the point where it was doing so well that my bill to eBay, even back in the days when eBay fees were a lot cheaper than they are now, it was costing me like $2,000 a month. So that was a little bit of an encouragement for me to try to find a better way to sell my merchandise. So I looked around, and I heard people talk about their websites, and I said, what's that? This is, I guess, just right after Al Gore had invented the World Wide Web. So I said, okay, maybe I can figure out how to set up a website, because I was proficient as a programmer, and I knew software and all that. I said, how hard could it be? All right, I put up probably the ugliest website in the world, but it did have the success of diverting some of the eBay traffic over to my own site where I wouldn't have to pay the eBay fees. So that got me started in what I call now internet marketing, because it really was marketing, and it really was on the internet, so it was internet marketing to me. And after I'd done that for a while, I decided, well, let's see what else this World Wide Web has to offer. So I started, like we all did, if we were active back then or even now, I started finding all these bright, shiny objects, all these different gurus at the time. There weren't quite so many then as there are now, but they all had these get-rich-quick schemes. If you buy my book, or you buy, this particular course from me, I'll teach you how to make money overnight, and you're going to be rich, beyond your wildest dreams. And I followed all those, and month after month, year after year, I got more involved in those particular get-rich-quick schemes. And you name it, I tried it, and you name it, and I failed at it. So between 1998, when I started in eBay, and I guess like 2004, 2005, I was pretty much trying everything. And as things came out, things like article marketing and AdSense and AdWords and different things like blogs. This was before WordPress, but there was blogger blogs. And all this, I was trying all this, and I was pretty much failing at everything. So for a period of about 3 years, while I still had my store going, I was trying everything in the world, and I was absolutely failing miserably. I was joining all the membership sites. I was surfing all the forums. The Warrior Forum was pretty young back then, but I was a member. I was trying to build websites of my own. I was trying to get people to buy resale rights products. There was a few people that were selling e-books that you could resell, which I thought was pretty neat, because that meant I didn't have to write anything myself, and I could sell something somebody else put together, and it only cost me $97 or something to try. And so I tried all these things, and like I said, not everything worked. And after a while, after I'd done this for a few years, it got to the point where I said to myself, no, wait a minute, is this just a scam or not? I said, people say that they can make money on the internet, but I'm not seeing that. And that was a pretty frustrating situation for me. And it come to the point where the store was doing so badly, and I was financing my mortgage payments and my groceries and all the the school expenses of my son and all that. I was pretty much, unbeknownst to my wife, financing that on our credit cards. And I'd get some cash that would come into the store. I'd use that to pay the bills, and then when I needed to buy inventory to replenish the store's inventory, well, I'd put that on a credit card. So my credit card balances kept growing and growing and growing, to the point where, even though I had a pretty good credit line, it was coming to the point where all my credit cards were maxed out. So that's when I had to sit down and say, what am I going to do now? I was 50-some years old. I wasn't at the point where I could go out on the street and then look for a job, because my programming skills had diminished. Things had what I was active in programming had been back in the 80s, and now this was in the 2000s, 15 years later. So that wasn't an option. Also wasn't an option because if I would have got a good job, if I would have been qualified, it probably wouldn't have been enough to pay off my bills, and as well as my other expenses. So I was really stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I was really getting desperate. So one day I sat down and I said to myself, this has got to work. I mean, other people say they're doing marketing on the internet and they're making money, and why aren't I? I had a college education. I was pretty. I thought pretty smart. I had started up a couple businesses in the past, and I had succeeded with them. I had my consulting business that I was making 6 figures back in the 80s, and that was real good money. And my store was doing real well in the 90s until the economy turned down. So I was successful with that. I said, why can't I be successful on the internet? Because it seems so simple. So I said to myself, okay, all these guys are saying that they can send out an email, for example, and make $1,000 overnight. I said, well, that didn't work for me because I tried it. So I said, what could I conceivably make work for me, and maybe we'll use that as a base to build on. And I devised what I eventually ended up calling the $5 a day strategy. And my theory was that if I could figure out how to make $5 in a day, and make it a kind of income that would be recurring income. Well, if I could do that repetitively, week after week after week, then maybe I could really succeed with this internet marketing thing. So when I made that decision, I said, okay, let's figure out what I know and what I can do and what I can put together quickly, because quickly was a necessity, because I had to pay the bills and my credit cards were credit line was running out. So I said, let me figure out what I can do. And I figured out one thing I knew real well was eBay. Another thing I was pretty good at was building websites quickly, at least not so good-looking ones, but functional ones. And another thing I was pretty good at was this affiliate marketing kind of thing. I could send emails, and I could show people exactly what I was doing. And maybe it wouldn't be pretty, maybe it wouldn't be the next Yahoo or the next I don't know what the big websites were back then. They were all pretty because there weren't videos or any of that. But I said, let me try to put up a website that has a bunch of eBay affiliate links on it, and see if we can make some money from it. So I said, my goal this week is to sit down, do that, and make $5 a day for the week. That would be $35 a week. And the first decision was what kind of product was I going to put up and send to the eBay auctions. And my son at the time flew me into to the hot video game of the year back then. That was 2005, and that was the Xbox 360. And he said, I'd really like one of those for Christmas. And I said, well, I'm sorry, Mark, we can't afford one of those for Christmas, but thanks for the tip. And I had also read in the paper that was the hot game of the year. So the next thing I did is I went into eBay, and they have a section called the eBay Pulse, and that's a section of eBay that says what the hottest auctions are, what the most people are looking for, searching for, buying. And that was also Xbox 360. So I said, that's a clue to me that people really want this thing. I said, but wait a minute, this is Microsoft. What happens if I were to put up a website for the Xbox 360 and Microsoft sued me for trademark infringement or something? I said, also, there's got to be a tremendous amount of competition because everybody's searching for this. Everybody wants this game, and what's going to happen if I put it up there and a million other people are doing the same thing? But I said to myself, you know what, I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what to do otherwise, so let's just try it. It's only going to be a week out of my life if it fails. So I put out that site in a day, and the first day I set an AdWords budget because I'd started to learn how to do AdWords, pay-per-click. So that's the quickest way to get traffic to a page. So I set up an AdWords campaign, and I said my budget for the day is going to be, I forget what it was, I think $20 or $25. And I said, let's see if I can make some money with just that $20 minimum investment. So I turned on the campaign. I went to bed that night, and the next morning I woke up, and I exhausted that $20 or $25, whatever it was, budget. But between my AdSense earnings and my eBay earnings that day, I had made something like a $25 profit or a $50 profit, whatever it was. And I said, you know what? That's pretty good. That's far and above the $5 that I was looking for. I said, maybe I'm just getting lucky. So I said, let's bump it up a little bit. I made $30 or $40, $50 a day. Let's add to my budget. Let's make it a $50 budget for the next day and see what happens the next day. And I did it again and made a little more money. So every day I kept bumping up my budget a little bit, and every day I was making money. I was making a lot more than the $5 a day. So that to me was the confidence builder. That was the key to the rest of my internet marketing life, I think, because that's the first time that I ever really made money on the internet. And it was the first time that I tried the $5 a day strategy. So before we talk too more about that story, let's sort of go through what the $5 a day strategy is. Now, it wasn't all refined back when I first did it that first week, but eventually, as I did more $5 a day, we'll call projects, this is what the sequence of events was. The first thing the strategy says to do is to set a goal. Now, what I did in the beginning, and there's a nice little picture on the website, if you go to fivebucksaday.com to the sales page, of a little post-it note. And what that post-it note is I had written the numbers 200 on a yellow post-it sticker, and I stuck it on my printer beside my monitor because I was constantly on the computer, 8, 10, 12 hours a day. So it was always in the corner of my eye, that number 200. And what I wanted to do was burn that into my subconscious, into my core as a goal. And I wanted it to be something that I would say to myself, this is the amount of money that I really need to make every day, $200 a day. And it might sound like a lot to some people, but to me it was a necessity, because $200 a day is something like $70,000 a year, $73,000, whatever it is. And that's the amount of money I needed to pay for my mortgage and my expenses and my utilities and my son's education and pay down some of the credit card bills and all that, and to start getting rid of that albatross of the credit card debt that was burdening me. So that was my goal, $200 a day. So that was a goal. Okay, the next thing I did is, when I was developing the strategy and when I was thinking about what I could do to make $5 a day, I made a list of all the things that I was capable of doing and that I thought might make me $5 a day. So I took a ledger, a workbook, or a 3-ring binder, or whatever it was at the time, and I wrote down all these possibilities. And when I say the money is in the list, well, a lot of internet marketers say the money is in the email list, because they figure that every subscriber that they have is worth a certain number of dollars per month or dollars per year. Well, to me, the money in the list is in the project list, because if I have a project list of, let's say I have 50 projects that I can do, and theoretically if I expect to make $5 a day for each one of those projects, once that project is done, okay, then $5 times 50 projects is $250 a day if I were to do all those 50 projects within the course of a year. So every week, what I want to do is I want to go to that notebook, and I want to pick one project every week and work on that until it's done. In other words, I want to focus hard. Back when I was failing, I think that was the most important thing that I was doing wrong. I was chasing bright, shiny objects. Maybe one week I would hear that AdSense is where all the money is to be made, so I'd try to set up all these AdSense sites. Or maybe the next day somebody would say, hey, all you got to do is write a bunch of articles. And I was following the bum marketing method. And people said if you write enough articles, you get enough people that'll click on your resource box and go to your affiliate link to your merchant, and they're going to buy stuff. So all you have to do is write more articles. And then, if I wrote 20 articles and that didn't work, then I'd go on to something else. Somebody said that, well, what you really need to do is put together all these blogs, and then blogs are going to get good search engine traffic. And that's all you need to do. So every week there's something new and different that I was trying. I was following all these different gurus, all these different ways of putting together niche sites, and they all had these different methods. And I wasn't focusing then. So the $5 a day strategy said, once you pick your project every week, you want to focus on that and not anything else. You don't want to be constantly looking at your ClickBank stats. You don't want to be looking at your AdSense stats. You don't want to be seeing how much money you're spending in AdWords. You just want to have your nose down and work on the project and get it done. So complete it, and then theoretically at the end of the week you've got something that's out there that's making money for you, and the next step is to lather, rinse, and repeat, one of my favorite sayings. So the next thing you do is you go on to the next project in your notebook. Okay? Anybody have any questions before or comments before I go any further?
I don't have a question, Dennis, but I wanted to touch on that. For me personally, I think when you talked about the money being in the list, I think that's, for me, at least personally, starting, because I didn't have any success until I got started with the $5 a day system also, is that really, to me, what was the key? Because, at least for me, once you get all of those ideas in your head, because I would just have, my head would just be so jammed full of ideas, and then it would be leaking out, be working on one idea, then pop over to another one. But by getting them out, getting them onto paper, and saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to tackle this maybe further down the road, but I'm going to tackle this. It got it out of my head and allowed me to concentrate on the task at hand. And then once I was able to do that, I was surprised at how much I was able to finish, in a week. When I first started, I said, okay, I'm going to take 2 weeks instead, to do a project. But it would only take 2 days, simply because I was able to focus. I didn't have all that stuff cluttered in my head. It was out of my head and into my notebook.
Hey guys, you didn't tell me I wasn't showing my screen. You can see my screen now, right?
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I see it, Dennis.
Okay. Yeah, I wish you'd have told me before. Maybe I can splice this in when I put this together to show people, rather than start the whole thing over. Yeah, that's a good comment, Michael. You can surprise yourself if you really focus and you don't divert yourself every 15 minutes, how much you can really get done in a day, in a week, and an hour even. So that's important.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for me too, I know when I first started online, initially I was doing pretty well, and then I got on all these lists and stuff, and I started buying all these shiny projects and diverting my focus all the time and constantly trying to listen to someone's better idea. And as soon as I did that, my income plummeted, and I really totally appreciate and understand when you say about the power of focus. I mean, it's just so huge. Every time I just buckle down and I don't look at the list and I just work, my income just dramatically goes up. So it's a really good point.
Right. Yeah, and I wish I would have had this tool back when I first started, but as far as focus, we've developed this tool called Action Enforcer since then. And I've found that my productivity has probably doubled or tripled or quadrupled since I've started using this a couple of years ago. And it's something that really allows you to focus. If you don't have the time or the ability to do something 8 hours because there are other distractions that you have to worry about, interviews and webinars and phone calls and emails and support, whatever, at least if you can block off certain segments of time, saying for an hour I'm going to be doing nothing but this, and you can set a timer in this tool that we call Action Enforcer, and that will start a countdown clock that'll allow you to do nothing else but that. You can say, okay, I've got an hour and I'm not going to have to worry about anything else, and that's something that's really helped me since I've gotten a hold of that and started using that on a daily basis. So,
an Action Enforcer is that comes with our membership. I don't remember because I use it so much. It's just automatic for me.
Yeah, it does come with Earn 1K a day, and actually now people that just buy the $5 a day strategy, it comes with that now too. We have bundled that in now as of just a month or so ago. So I think that's probably a pretty essential tool for people to use that really want to be able to focus. So we're now including that in the $5 a day package, the $5 a day system we call it now, where it used to be just an ebook. So Teresa, Gene, any comments?
Well, hi Dennis. One of the things I like to do to focus is to simply turn off, unplug from the internet, use the computer and accomplish tasks that I can do offline. Because there's so many distractions when I'm, online that it's so much easier for me to accomplish, to produce the work that I need to produce just by unplugging and just getting down to the task.
Yeah, I probably should do that more often. Things like Skype really bug me. I have Skype because people connect with me on that sometimes, but people that refuse to send me an email, they'd rather just send me an instant message on Skype. It really just bugs the heck out of me because that dinging is just it's so annoying. And you're in the middle of something and all of a sudden ding ding ding. It's like the alarm clock wakes you up in the morning, and you just can't do anything else until you answer that call to see who really wants you. It's an emergency. It's like the phone ringing at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you can't get back to sleep after that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so tempting just to check your email every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm bad at that. I do check email too often, and by turning off the internet at times, I can really focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's a good.
And Gene, that's a great point because if your $5 a day project is doing an ebook or or putting together videos or something like that. You don't need the internet. You're just
Absolutely.
typing, you're just recording or something like that. You don't have to be online to accomplish those particular projects.
And Dennis, you said something that I really liked. Everybody talks about focus, and you said focus hard. That extra word just kind of gives it that extra emphasis that I think is really important, because if you have a project every week, those projects, those weekly projects are also going to have smaller parts to that weekly project. You're going to have things that you want to do each day. You're going to have things that you want to do each hour, and that, like what you're talking about with the action enforcer. So you need not only your project list, but you need your daily list. You need your task list, and focus on that one thing that you're doing right now, and don't think about the next step until it's time to do the next step.
Right. That's where Action Enforcer can help you. Like if your project this week is maybe to to write a I don't know, maybe write a report on Twitter or something because you want to sell it. Okay, so that's an overall project or an overall product you want to get out, but that particular project is going to be made up of a bunch of parts. You're going to want to get screenshots, for example. You're going to want to do the actual writing. You're going to want to maybe get a graphic header for your sales page. You're going to want to write the sales page. You're going to want to do testing once you have the product. You want to maybe buy a domain name and put it on there, and get the download area ready. So with Action Enforcer, you can break down the project into individual tasks, and maybe one particular task is going to take you 2 hours, another one's going to take you 1 hour, another one's going to take you 30 minutes. So you can break it down so that you're just focusing on small parts of it at any one given time. And then you're not going to be overwhelmed by the fact that, hey, I got to get this whole big darn thing done in a week. That's an awful lot. But if you break it down into hour tasks, and there's 20-hour tasks, well, that's not even a week's worth of work. So you'll find that you get done a lot sooner if you do it that way. It's because you're not overwhelmed.
And the great thing about Action Enforcer, too, is that if you have something that you're going to do the same set of tasks over and over, you can set those up so that is a series, a process in there that's already set. You don't have to reset it each time you do that.
Right. Right.
Now, am I the only person that thinks that focus and this process, that it takes practice?
Not at all.
I mean, because I know it did. I mean, it did for me. It took a while of accomplishing these littler goals before I got into the habit of actually finishing.
Well, I'm still trying to get into the habit.
Yeah, no, you're not the only one, Michael. It's a tough habit to get into, and it's an easy habit to break. There's all these, like we say, all these bright, shiny objects that are out there that are so enticing, and all these people saying, I'm making all this money by just doing this. And well, I'm not doing that, and I'd like to make all that money, so maybe I'll try it. But one thing, I didn't mention it when I got started with the $5 a day strategy. I tried all these different things, and theoretically, any one of them could make somebody a good income, a good living, but it wasn't for me. Making a living, and I tried it, and maybe I just wasn't doing it right, or maybe I wasn't smart enough, or whatever it was. Maybe it just wasn't for me. And I got involved I joined a membership site, Matt Levenhagen's membership site, back at the time, which he has a new one now, but the one I was in was a predecessor that he had with a couple partners, and I had failed at AdWords several times in the past when I was failing at everything, and I joined his, and he was an AdWords master. I thought he was doing real well, and he had written a little guide called I forget what the name of it was, but it was the predecessor to his campaign blasting guide now. And I read that, and it was only 30 or 40 pages, and now it's like a couple hundred pages. But back then it was such a refreshing look at AdWords, and I said, you know what? I was following Matt, in the forum. It was a forum-based site, and I said, I can identify with Matt, and I see what he's doing, and if Matt can do it, I can do it. So I said, what if he can do it, I can do it. All I have to do is do what Matt's doing, and theoretically, I could do it myself. So that's when I started my $5 a day first campaign with the Xbox 360. I decided that was going to be the one that I was going to do it Matt's way instead of the way I had done it before, and guess what? I got that campaign up, and it was making more than $5 a day every day from the beginning. And between November 2005 and January 2006, when the holiday period ended, I made over $38,000 profit with that one little campaign. And it was really just an ugly little site, ugly little page, sending traffic to eBay, and $38,000 in like 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it was, maybe 10 weeks. And that's just, when I saw that happen, I said, what, that the key to success is not following what people say they're doing, but follow what people are doing. Do as they do, not as they say. And, since I've been doing that, and since I've, been encouraging people to do that, success comes a whole lot easier that way. There are people that are successful, and if you want to follow them, even quietly, they can be your mentor. I considered Matt Levenhagen to be my first mentor, and he didn't even know it at the time. But I was doing what he was doing, and I became successful at it. And he's still successful, and I went on to success in other ways also. And some people follow me probably, but
yeah, that's me, Dennis.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
I've told people that actually that you're a mentor of mine, and you may not know it.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I'm flattered, Teresa. You're doing real well, and I'm glad I've had some influence on you. And everybody should have an influence on somebody, and everybody should, if they're failing, maybe they're failing because they're not following the right people. So. Find somebody that's doing what you want to do, and do what they do. And if they're really teaching you the right way, they're going to be honest with you. And there are people out there that you can follow, and you can succeed by doing what they're doing. Gene's a great guy as far as knowing how to make profits with domain names. That's something I never really tried. But if I were to want to do that for a living, that's the person I would follow. Michael's a guy that makes a good living with niche sites and with email marketing the right way to people. And if that was what I was interested in right now, I'd follow Michael. So there's a lot of things that and a lot of people that whether they know that you're following them or not, it doesn't really matter. Maybe it's better that they don't know, because there are a lot of people that are going to try to sell you their coaching programs. They're going to say, okay, I'll coach you for $1,000 a month or $200 an hour or whatever it is. You don't really often need to do that. Just do what they're doing, and follow them from afar. So.
And one of the most important points that you brought up is to do what people are doing, not necessarily what they're saying.
Right, exactly.
There are so many people out there teaching wrong strategies, but they're not actually doing the stuff. So it's important to follow people that are doing something, and learn from their actions. Right.
There's people out there that it really bugs me, some of these people that are trying to teach people how to make money online. They've never made money themselves online, but they've seen other people do it. So they figure they can show people how to do it because they know people that did it, but they didn't do it themselves. I mean, I know people that have been teaching offline marketing, but they've never done offline marketing.
Right.
It's all theory. I sometimes encourage people to do offline marketing, or I often encourage people to do offline marketing because I know it works, but I never did it myself. Going door to door and knocking on people's stores or cold calling them, that's something that terrifies me. But I know how effective offline marketing is. I know what I would do if I wanted to, if I needed to, if I was bankrupt again and had my back against the wall, I could go out there and do it. I know, but I've never actually done it. And I know people that are out there teaching offline marketing that have never actually done it. So,
right.
Is that a good thing? I don't know. I mean, I had a store, so I did have an offline business. So at least I'm close enough to offliners in that regard that I know what I would do if I was wanting to put up a site for my store. if I still had the store. But I don't know if I'd really want to teach somebody how to do that if I wasn't doing it on a day-to-day basis. And I know people that are doing that, which really bugs me. But that's life.
Well, that's one of the great things about the Earn 1K a Day membership is you're surrounded by people that you know are doing certain things, and you get to know these people and create relationships, and you understand that they're actually out there pounding the pavement doing the stuff that they're talking about.
Right.
And you can sort them out easily. I mean, you can tell when somebody's doing something and when they're just talking, and the Earn 1K a Day membership allows you to associate with people that are actually doers.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Well, we spent a lot more time on this $5 a day strategy and the theory behind it than I expected. But let's go on to the next point in the chart here. Mind state issues. I think, and I know at least one person on the call here is going to agree with me, that success is more in your mind than anywhere else. Like when I said, when I started following Matt Levenhagen, when I said, you know what, if Matt can do it, I can do it. Well, that's a mind state issue. Before then I said to myself, well, I'm not sure I can do that, but I'll try. So right away I was in a negative state of mind. So you want to eliminate the negative self-talk. Okay, so that's one thing. The next thing I always tell people is failure is your friend. Okay, I'm a sports fan. In the United States, I follow baseball and football and all that. And like in baseball, if there's a batter that is a 300 hitter, that means he's getting 3 hits out of every 10 appearances at the plate. So he's failing 70% of the time. Well, succeeding 30% of the time is enough to get him into the Hall of Fame. It's enough to make him $20 million a year. It's enough to really make him a fan's idol. So he's not afraid to fail, and neither am I. When I was doing AdWords campaigns, I had in my mind, once I knew that I could succeed occasionally, that I wasn't going to succeed every time. I would succeed maybe 1 time out of 10 or 1 time out of 15, and that was enough for me because I was then in the mind state that I knew that if I failed in this campaign, and this was what Matt taught me in his campaign blasting, is that I would stop the failure after a reasonable period of time, like maybe after I'd spent $30 on that campaign or something. I would stop, and I wouldn't prolong the bleeding. So if I lost $30 in that campaign, fine. So then I go on to the next one. Maybe I'd lose $30 on that one. Okay, fine. I'll go on to the next one. And let's say I went through 10 campaigns and I lost $30 on 9 out of the 10. So I lost $270. And on the 10th campaign, maybe I made $30, a $30 profit, a 100% profit. So it seems like, and a lot of people have called my bluff on it, saying, how can you make money with AdWords if you're going to fail 9 times out of 10? I said, no, now look at the numbers. If I fail 9 times out of 10, I'm going to make $30 for every $270 I lose. And they said, yeah, okay, that's what I told you. I said, but I'm going to continue that $30 winner forever. So let's say I only continue it for a year, okay? So I made 50 weeks worth of $30 profits. So that's $1,500 for every $270 I lost. Okay, so the second week, maybe I put up another 10 campaigns, and I'll lose $270 on 9 out of those 10, and I have another winner on the 10th one. So now I'm making $60 a week, and I'm only losing $270 a week. But those $60 a week is forever, and that's where the $5 a day strategy comes in. You're going to keep these projects going that are going to continue to build and build and build, and those are ones that you're not just going to make $5 a day today. You're going to make $5 a day forever. If you're just putting up a project that's going to make you $5 as long as you're working at it, well, that doesn't make sense. You might as well just go to McDonald's and flip hamburgers for a living, because that's all it is. But you want to be looking at recurring income streams. And back to the failure is your friend. Failure is your friend because you're not going to succeed all the time. So as long as you're buzzing through the failures as quick as you can to get to the next success, that's where the money is going to come. That's where success, that's where confidence is going to come, because eventually you're going to get to the next success. The next important mind state issue, good enough is good enough. And Earn 1K a day, I get so discouraged and so frustrated when I see people say, when I say, they say, I have a good idea about the site I'm going to put up, or this ebook I'm going to create, or this video series, or this course, or whatever it is, or this blog I'm working on. I say, okay, when's it going to be ready? I said, well, it's not ready yet because I don't have the graphics done for the site, or the sales page isn't quite right, or I got to find somebody to proofread the copy, or and there's all these ors, and it's, you know, I said, wait a minute, you know, it's good enough. You can put a site up without graphics. You know, the content is what's important. Content is king. So get it out there. If it's a software product that has a bug in it, every software product has bugs in it. If Bill Gates would have waited until Windows was perfect, well, we never would have had Windows, would we? Because it's never going to be perfect. It's a lot of people will continue to say, you know, the Macintosh people, but, you know, Apple isn't perfect either. You know, nobody's perfect. No product is perfect. It's never going to be perfect, and unless you're maybe a heart surgeon or a parachute packer or something, good enough is good enough. You know, just get it out there. Somebody taught me once, and I took it to heart, that our responsibility as internet marketers is to get good information to people so that they can improve their lives. And if we continue to sit on a product and not get it out to the public because we don't think it's good enough, well, that's a mind state issue. It's good enough for a lot of people. We know things that other people don't know, and it's our responsibility to teach those things to people. Sort of going hand in hand with that is money loves speed. I like to say that a lot, and a lot of people like that quote that I have. Again, if you can get a product to market quicker than your competition, in other words, you'll get more products out in the same amount of time, in a year, in a month, in a week, or whatever, you're going to make more money than the person who's just going to sit on a product until it's so-called perfect. So money loves speed. Ideas are a dime a dozen, and a lot of people may have the same idea that you have. If you get it out to the market first, you're going to make the money. Well, they're tweaking their sales page and their graphics and their content and their spelling, their proofreading or whatever, and their sales copy to get a perfect conversion rate. Money loves speed. Get it out there. The next thing that a guy taught me a long time ago, and cemented the focus in, there's no hocus pocus, just focus. It isn't magic. Focus on something and get it done, and that's where the success is going to lie. Another mind state issue, think outside the box. When I was doing my Xbox 360 campaign that was doing so well, after I finished that, I decided to talk about it in the forum I was in, and talk about it on a blog that I commented on, and saying what I was doing and why it was working for me. And then some people asked me to give them some more details, and I decided to write the ebook, $5 a day. Well, I wasn't shy about actually divulging my niche, the Xbox 360, because I wanted to be upfront and honest about exactly what was happening, and they could have gone and they could have found my site, and a lot of people did. I had thousands of people that bought my ebook, and they went and they found my site, and guess what? In 2006, when the holiday season rolled around again, there was dozens, at least, probably hundreds of people doing the same sort of thing with the same sort of product. And in 2006, it wasn't the Xbox 360 anymore. It was the PlayStation 3 that was the hot video game. And I don't know how many people out there had eBay sites that looked exactly like mine, and AdWords ads that looked almost exactly like mine, and I was competing basically with people that learned from me. So, okay, what happened? I just started thinking outside the box. I looked around to see, well, if I have been going up against a lot of competition for the PlayStation 3, what's a different kind of toy that'll work? And I found that the TMX Elmo was the hot little toy for kids at the time, and I actually absolutely crushed it with that particular campaign at the same time that the PlayStation 3 was going on. And then I guess people found my Elmo ads because they knew what my site name was or whatever, and then they started following me there. So I said, okay, well, if PlayStation 3 is the big game, then I'll go after the one that not so many people were talking about. And that year it was the Wii, the Nintendo Wii, WII. And I started doing campaigns with that, and I started crushing it with that. So you just got to stay ahead of the competition. Think outside the box. Don't do everything the same as other people are doing, because you want to have your own little niche and your own little ways of doing things. And then finally, I really love this quote: if you keep on doing the same things you've always been doing, you're going to keep on getting the same things you've always been getting. And if you don't like what you've been getting, well, change the things you're doing. Going back again to failure is your friend. If you keep on doing something over and over and over again and it's failing, well, stop doing that. Do something else. So learn after a period of time that failure is inevitable. Success is not consistent, and if it isn't working what you're doing now, then do something different. So that's my little bit of preaching on mind state. And anybody have any?
Dennis, I wanted to say something about what you were talking about, think outside the box. That, I think, is something that is so important. All of these systems and methods and step-by-step instructions that everybody gets when they buy info products, how to make money online, you see it in the forums all the time. Questions like, if so many hundred people buy this, is it not going to get saturated? Is it not going to, lose its effectiveness? And I've tried to point out to people in a lot of cases, well, it will if everybody does it exactly the same way every single time. You have to make it your own, and people just are missing that element.
Right. And another thing along the same line, and in the forum a lot, I know that really bugs me when somebody like, I remember a big long thread in Earn 1K Day that Michael started once, and he told people exactly how he did a certain kind of, I forget, you can go into it yourself, Michael, but he was teaching people how he did something that was succeeding wildly for him. And people kept asking questions, well, if I do it differently, what will happen? And Michael would say, I don't know, because I haven't done it differently. I know what's working for me. If you want to try doing it differently, do it differently. Maybe you'll get better results. Maybe you'll get worse results. But try it. But Michael couldn't answer that question. Will work with a Blogger blog instead of a WordPress blog? That isn't the question they were asking, but that's an example. And would it work?
A lot of that ties in too with the mindset too, Dennis. Because I really believe that so many times we throw up our own obstacles. We throw things in our own way. I know that you're going to talk about a little bit later there about how adversity will happen. Well, there's going to be enough adversity that's going to happen on our own without us giving our own adversity to tossing our own obstacles in the way. So like in one of those threads, I don't remember which one it was. I've several of those in there, but hey, look, if this is what I did step by step, or anybody did, and it worked, lather, rinse, repeat. Just do it. Don't worry about don't throw in your own obstacle. Well, what if I do this instead of this? And et cetera, like that. Follow whatever is working. Now, in Teresa's case, when she was talking about thinking outside the box, there are lots of different projects and et cetera like that where you have to do that. You have to do it differently in order to be successful. I tell you, that's one of the things I love about the Earn 1K Day forum, though, is that it really gives people an opportunity to practice, to fail, if you will, in a safe environment. If you have a product that you're doing, you've never done a product before, put it out there in the forum. Sell it for a few bucks. You're going to sell some copies of it. Get feedback. Nobody's going to rip you. Nobody's going to tear you apart. It's a great place to practice and to learn the good enough is good enough. Thinking outside of the box. Failure is your friend. It's a good, safe environment to do that because everybody is wanting to accomplish the same thing. Everybody wants to help everybody.
And these positive mind state issues are more a standard, I think, inside Earn 1K a Day than they are in certain other forums where people are in there and the mindset is more positive and it is more hopeful and more what can I do instead of what's going to go wrong.
Right, right. Whether it's unusual, I don't know, because I don't frequent a lot of other forums other than the Warrior Forum much anymore because I don't have time. But you know, I am pretty happy with the positive mind state that our people have, and you know, the friendliness that everybody has towards one another, and the helpfulness everybody has towards one another, and that really, you know, makes me proud. Hearing you talk about special offers, Michael, reminds me, you know, many years ago. It seems like now, and you know, it really was when I knew the forum had arrived. I forget whether it was the $5 a day forum before Earn 1K a Day or whether it was after Earn 1K a Day. But when you came out with that product where you had a little add-on tweaks to the MMS system, and I think you found it hard to believe. I think that was maybe your first product you ever came out with. It was a series of videos or something, and you found it hard to believe that people actually bought it.
Yeah, it was like, it was it was just mind-blowing. Number one, because I never really finished a product before, so that was mind-blowing by itself. But then it was something that was so painfully, you know, easy and obvious, and yet, you know, people just, you know, just devoured it. I mean, that was you know, an amazing thing. And then from there, turned around and wound up being a very successful WSO also. But I had that safe environment to, you know, to screw up, if you will. You know, there in the forum, knowing that someone wasn't going to, you know, rip me a new one because, you know, oh my gosh, the sales button didn't work, or I didn't have graphics, and you know, and et cetera, like that. So, yeah, absolutely. That was my first big. I mean, I wouldn't call it big now, but you know, I made like $500 in a day, which was, you know, astronomical.
Yeah.
You know, at the time. So.
Yeah, and then you came out with, you know, because of that, you came out with your saying that I think has influenced a lot of people inside Earn 1K a Day, that everyone knows something that they take for granted, but other people will pay for that knowledge. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that was your first experience with that, I think. And then you started teaching that to other people, and other people have come out with products because of that. You know, you've been a mentor and an influence and encouragement on a lot of people, and including myself, because I never thought that way myself. I was always thinking that you had to really blaze new territory to make money on an information product, and that's just not true.
No, it's not. No, and so many times the simpler it is, the more effective it is. I know that some people will look at, you know, $5 a day, or, you know, Matt's campaign blasting or whatever, and it's fairly simple concepts, and people may think, well, gosh, you know, I paid $2,000 for, you know, this product, or, you know, $1,500 for this product, and here I just have this, you know, little 47-page ebook, or, you know, whatever it is. But you know, powerful things come in small packages.
Yeah. Yeah, more powerful. The smaller and the simpler, the more powerful it can be, because you can consume that information and take action on it right away. Where if you have a $2,000 course and they're just filling it up with fluff, you know, just to make it seem like it's worth $2,000, well, that's something that's going to discourage people from actually taking action, because it can't be consumed quickly enough.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And to add to that, like for example, Gene has a wonderful product on domaining that we got to see, you know, first at the first Earn 1K a Day, you know, conference, seminar a couple years ago, and then, at least the last time I checked, that thread in the on the Warrior Forum in the war room is the most commented thread of any thread there in the war room, and Gene can probably speak more to that. But again, it's simple, effective. We got to see it first, which is kind of cool, and then and people are still devouring it even to this day.
Yeah, I mean, that never ceases to amaze me how the simple report, I think it's a 16-page report on, how to sell domains. And it's a system I put together that's very effective, and it's worked for years. And just putting together this report and putting it up on E1K a Day and Warrior Forum, I mean, I'm just always amazed at the response I get from that, because to me it's something that I think everybody already knows, and when I put it out there, people just give me so much great feedback, and I didn't know how to do this, thank you so much. It's things we take for granted, and that has a lot to do with my success, is the fact that it was a revelation to me that, yeah, I know a lot of stuff that I take for granted that people just don't know how to do. And as long as you're willing to disseminate that information, whether it's a free report or a paid product, you just have to get the knowledge out there.
Right, and that's all, again, that's all a mind state issue. You don't appreciate yourself until eventually you get out of your comfort zone, and you get the big lump in your throat and say, well, I'm going to throw something out there, and I'm going to see if they're going to reject it, if the market's going to reject it or not. And, gosh, a good majority of the time, the market is going to say, hey, you're a genius. I mean, not everybody's going to buy your product. I mean, there's how many hundreds of millions of people on the internet, and I'm happy if I put out a product and 1,000 people buy it. So I don't have to get a lot of market penetration to have something be successful. So, And people say, well, I'm not an expert in anything. Well, I consider an expert to be somebody that knows more about something than maybe 95% of the people. There's going to be other people that are going to know more about that subject than you are, but you're still going to know more about whatever that subject is, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or WordPress or whatever, than somebody, or domaining or niche site selection or whatever, than a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to listen to you.
Right, and you become blind to a lot of things that you do on a daily basis. You think, okay, this is just routine for me, but when you reveal it to somebody else, it's like, wow, a big light turns on in their head and says, I didn't realize I could do this. So that it's just getting the information on paper or on, creating a digital report, or just being willing to share the information, even if you think it's just a bland, something with, not a whole lot of, you don't think it's really valuable, but it is.
Yeah, it is. Okay, let's move on here. I'm going to buzz through this real quick. Different kinds of $5 a day projects. There's all sorts of $5 a day projects. When I wrote the book, I just put in an example that was what I had done in my first $5 a day project, which was using AdWords to drive traffic to an eBay affiliate site. And people would, the few people that would ask for a refund say, well, I can't do that. I can't afford AdWords. I said, it's not about AdWords. It's about, it's about any project that you can think of that could conceivably make you $5 a day on a recurring basis. And there's all sorts of different kinds of project examples. If you can write articles, you can do bum marketing. Everybody knows what bum marketing is, I guess, where Travis Sagel's theory that you could take somebody off the streets and take them to the public library where they had computer access, get them to write an article, and you can make that person successful to the point where they make money. So writing articles is a way to make $5 a day. Once you get enough articles out there, they're going to start giving you recurring income, theoretically. You get proper search engine rankings and all that. Ghostwriting is a way that you can make money with writing. That's more of a service business where it's not really recurring. Once you stop writing, the money stops coming in, because if you're writing articles for $5 an article, $10 an article, if you're writing ebooks for $500 or whatever it is, well then yeah, if you stop writing, then the paydays are going to stop coming in. But at least you can make some money to feed your family if you need to. So that's another way you can make money. content is king. There's always going to be people that are going to look for people to write for them, and there's an insatiable desire on the web for more and more articles, more and more ebooks, more and more white papers, more and more reports, whatever it is, more and more sales pages. So whatever kind of writing you can do, you're going to be able to be successful if you put your mind to it. Creating things, products, whether it's a product like an ebook or a video course or a podcast or whatever, and put together niche content sites for dog training or credit repair or Forex or there's a million different kinds of niche content sites that you can do, whether they're merchandise or information products or whatever. Blogs in all those areas. If you want to do it quicker than putting up HTML sites, you can put together blogs. Virtual real estate. The real estate on the internet is basically free. Once you have a server, some servers that theoretically give you an unlimited number of domains that they let you have. I mean, it's not really true, because if you get too many, you're going to start consuming too many resources and they're going to shut you down. But you can always get another server, and they're really cheap, and a domain name is going to cost you around $10 or so. So it's not like buying houses in New York City and Manhattan or something where it's going to cost you a lot of money. It's something that's fairly economical. So the more content you get out on the web, the more pages, the more sites, the more money you're going to make. So the people that can do it faster, remember, money likes speed, money loves speed, the more you're going to make if you do it in a way that makes sense. So creating products, creating blogs, creating sites, creating pages, you're going to constantly be amazed. I remember one day when I remember it vividly because it was my son's birthday, and I was going to go to his house. He had just gotten a new house, and he was having his first barbecue at his house. And I was, in the morning at home, I was looking at my AdSense sites, and something was terribly wrong, because I saw that where I normally maybe make $20 or $30 in the morning before noon, I made something like $200 that day. And I said, what's going on here? So I looked at my stats, and I found that one page of one of my sites was just going crazy. It had like 10,000 hits on one page. It normally gets 1 or 2 hits a day, and that was a page that was that had ads for Star Wars T-shirts, of all things. And the Star Wars movie was just coming out the next weekend, so I forget which movie it was, but one of the new movies. This was back 6 or 8 years ago, and everybody wanted the Star Wars T-shirt, and for some reason my site or my page was #1 on Yahoo, not even Google, but Yahoo, for that term, for Star Wars T-shirts. And people were hitting my page like crazy. I had, like I said, 10,000 hits in the morning, and people were clicking on my AdSense ads, and they were clicking on the eBay ads, and they're buying T-shirts right and left. And oh man, it was fantastic. I had thousands of pages out there, and that one was getting all the traffic, and I never had before. So virtual real estate, the more pages you get out there, the more serendipitous events like that you're going to see occasionally. It's not going to happen very often, but if you don't have pages out there, it's not going to happen at all. So that's the point there. Marketing. What am I going to say here? Okay, different ways to market that could conceivably make you $5 a day. Email marketing. If you build email lists, and you should be for every site you put up. If people are coming to your page, you don't want them to just come once and never come back. You want to try to capture their email address so that you can follow up with them in the future. So email marketing is one way to market to people. Pay-per-click, if you want to get traffic quick. If you don't have the search engine rankings right away, you can get traffic quickly by paying for it. And that's what I used to do when I was doing my Xbox 360 ads and all the others. You can have joint ventures with people where if you don't have a list but somebody else does, if they're willing to send their list to your pages, if you pay them for it, of course, by giving a commission, that's another way to market. And offline marketing, okay, trying to get people that don't have sites, that might have like a brick and mortar store, get them online. Okay, you can market to them by going door to door or telephoning people from the Yellow Page ads or whatever. It's another way to get traffic, to get money, to get recurring income. And repurposing. Okay, you can take content that you have in one format and convert it to another format, or you can take content that other people put together that you don't, it isn't a product of yours, but a private label rights product or a resale rights product. If you can creatively put that together and position it to sell it to other people, you can make money that way. That was one of the things that I did back when I was failing. I was trying to take resale rights products and try to sell them to people on my email list, and it just wasn't working. Well, when I actually ended up in a position where it started to work, it was because I was doing things differently. I wasn't trying to flog the same things that people were, the thousands of other people were trying to sell to people. I was finding my own unique ways of doing these products and selling these products and getting them in front of the right target audience. And converting to another medium. Okay, let's say you have a product of your own or a resale rights product. Let's say you have an ebook. Well, if everybody has that ebook and they're selling it, what's to stop you from converting that ebook to a video course, or converting that video course to a podcast, or converting a podcast? Let's say you have a video course that you got the rights for. What's to stop you from converting that to an ebook? Go in the other direction, because a lot of people like different kinds of products. Some people like the written word, some people like videos, some people like audios because they want to put it in their MP3 player and listen to it while they work out. So if it's in one format, convert it to another format, and you're going to increase your sales, maybe not exponentially, but some. Okay, so those are ways to make money that without creating something new. Okay, any comments before we move on?
I just want to say, Dennis, something on that real quick, is that the great thing, again, also too about the forum is that we have experts in the forum on every one of those topics. So they're always a great resource to be able to lean on and ask help from.
Yeah, you think? You think we got experts? Yeah, I think we got experts. Okay, on to 1K a day. Again, the mind state issue. When I had my Post-it note that said 200 on it, that was a really lofty goal for me. But it was something that was really important, which meant that if I were to reach that, I could start divesting myself of my retail business and really concentrating on something else. I figured if I could start making $200 a day from internet marketing part-time, then theoretically, if I went full-time, I could make more than that. And I could get rid of my retail store that was taking a lot of my time and energy, and also my wife's time and energy, because she was helping me with it. And when I reached that $200 a day, I went a little bit above that, and something happened. I went up to like $280 a day, and it was really started to stabilize and actually started to go downwards a little bit. And I said, what's happening? I was increasing my income every week and every week and every week, and all of a sudden it stabilized and started going downhill. It's, if I reached a plateau. And then I looked at my Post-it note, and it still said 200. I said, no, wait a minute. What's happening here? Basically what I was telling myself in the beginning was I was burning into my subconscious that was what my income was, that was reality. And when reality was 280, and I was telling my subconscious that reality should be 200, well, my subconscious was trying to get me back to that comfort zone. So I changed my Post-it note to 500, and then things started picking up again. So, again, that's another mind state issue. You want to pile up the $5 a day projects first. You want to get confidence. And remember that failure is your friend, and not everything's going to work, but some things are going to work better than average. So I found that for every week that I went where a project didn't work, that didn't make me $5 a day, there's going to be a week in there where the project that I picked would make me $20 a day or $50 a day. There are some projects that made me $100 a day. So, like I said, it wasn't the fact that everyone had to work perfectly. So, over the course of a year, the first year or first whatever number of months, the income started increasing pretty much on schedule, because I was targeting $5 a day projects, and I was getting on average $5 a day projects. So that was good. And of course, everything isn't always going to be perfect, because you're going to have weeks you're going to make $6 and $10 and $3 and whatever. And there's going to be ones, like I said, that you're going to make $100. And there's going to be days where, if a particular site is going to make you $5 a day, that one day it's going to make you $50. It's going to be an unusual thing, like that Star Wars T-shirt site that I mentioned. One day it made several $100s, where normally it made like 20 cents. So those things happen. But once you start diversifying, once you start piling up those $5 a day projects, funny things are going to happen. There's going to be what I call glass ceilings. And my first glass ceiling, way back in the beginning, was $100 a day. I remember when I was working so hard that the first time I reached $100 a day, I forget whether it was with eBay or with AdSense or a combination or whatever, I still had the store. My wife was still working with me every day in the store, and I looked at my stats in the morning and I said, wow, man, this is the first time this happened. And I asked my wife to come over to the computer, and she was always saying, what are you working so hard on? During the day at the store, at home at night, after supper, I go upstairs to the computer, and she'd say, what are you spending so much time on? She thought I was in these adult chat rooms, I think, sometimes, and in fact, I don't think that. She told me that. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm really working. She said, well, when are we going to start seeing the results of all this time you're putting in? I said, it'll come. I'll start paying off the bills. Don't worry. And so the first time that I made $100 in a day, I brought her over to the computer, and I showed her the stats, and I don't think she really knew what she was looking at. But, tears were streaming down my face, because it was just such an emotional release for me that I had never done that before, and it was just a glass ceiling that I'd finally broken through, and she couldn't understand why I was crying. And I said, you don't know how hard I worked to get to this point, and $100 wasn't a lot. I mean, it wasn't enough to buy groceries that week, even so. But that was important to me, and once I reached that first $100 a day, the next one was a lot easier. And the first time I reached $200 a day, that took a long time to get to that the first time, but then it started averaging that. And then once I changed my Post-it note to 500, and I got my first $500 in one day. It took, I don't know how many months or years to get to that point. But once I did that, the second one came a lot sooner. And then eventually I got to my first $1,000 day. And that was really a huge glass ceiling for me. And that's the point where I decided that, you know what, I have this $5 a day ebook, and we had a $5 a day forum, which was free to people that bought the ebook. And I said, you know what, I'd really like to take this up another notch, and I'd like to set up a paid forum. I called it an insiders club. And I said, what I want that place to be is a place where people can realize their first $1,000 a day, because I realized myself that every time I reached a glass ceiling, that it was easier and easier to do. And I wanted to have a place where we could encourage people and teach people and mentor people and show people that not only was it possible, but it was probable that eventually everybody in there, if they really wanted to, if they really tried hard enough, they really followed the right people, that they would have their own first $100 a day, $200 a day, $500 a day, $1,000 a day. So I named the site Earn 1K a Day, because I wanted everybody that joined the site to experience that $1,000 a day just once, because I knew if they did it just once, that it wouldn't be the only time. And that was important to me. And a lot of people have reached their 1K a day once, and then sometimes you see a success story in the forum that they reach their $1,000 a day, and guess what? The next day they have another one, or the next week they have a $1,500 a day or something, or it just builds on that. Once they again reach that glass ceiling and then burst through it. Like when Roger Bannister, I like to tell the story about the 4-minute mile. When Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile in running, it was something that scientists said wasn't humanly possible, that only horses could run that fast. And when he did it, he didn't listen to the scientists. He just went out and did it. And once he did it, within months, several other runners did the same thing. And now it's common. Now people in high school are reaching that particular athletic feat. And it's just a mental thing. It's a mindset thing. And I like Earn 1K a day, my site, to be something where people can face and conquer the mind state issues. So that was important to me, and that's where Earn 1K a day was invented.
It changes your expectations too, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I mean,
I'll bet you if you had $100 a day now, you would probably freak out.
Yeah.
And start going, what is wrong?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you got that right. And inside Earn 1K a day, there isn't just one way to earn $1,000 or to earn $5 a day or whatever your expectations are. I know some people don't want to care about earning $1,000 a day. They're happy with $100 a day. And that's fine too. I don't preach to them
because they haven't earned $1,000 a day yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, but they'd be happy with $100 a day,
yes.
Or even some people be happy with $500 a month, so they could make their car payment or their mortgage payment or whatever. And there's lots of different ways. In Earn 1K a day, we have 12 different business models we talk about. There's article marketing and site flipping and the mini money sites that I show how I used to do it with eBay and AdSense and all that, and writing, services and all these different methods, offline marketing. We have 12 different kinds of business models, and we're running a little late on time, so I don't want to go through all of them in great detail, but there isn't just one size fits all. And the nice thing I think about the $5 a day strategy is that you can have different kinds of projects, because theoretically, if you do it my way, you're only going to work on a project for a week, and then you're going to complete that, and then you're going to go back to your project list and say, okay, what am I going to do next week or this week? I just finished something last week. So it could be a different kind of project, and I like to diversify things, because if you have all your eggs in one basket, if you have all your successes based on the fact that you're a really expert search engine marketer, and you really figured out how to get all your pages to the first page of Google every time you try within a few hours, okay, that's fine, and you're going to make a lot of money. But what happens, like happened recently, when Google changes their algorithm, and all of a sudden all the pages that used to be on the first page of Google are now on the 100th page of Google? So you don't want to have everything, all your eggs in one basket that way. You want to diversify. You want to have things that are based on the articles you've written, things that are based on sites you've written, things that are based on bringing in income based on blogs that you put together, some affiliate marketing. You want to have an email list that you're going to be able to go to if all else fails. You're going to want to have products of your own. You want to have affiliates to promote those products for you. All these different ways of making money. So piling up those different kinds of $5 a day projects and diversifying them and different business models, because if the legs get pulled out from under a table that only has 3 legs to begin with, you're in trouble. But if it gets pulled out from under a table that has 15 legs, well, then you're probably going to be okay. So that's the theory there. Because, remember, adversity will happen. And it's happened to me, and it's happened to most of the people that have been doing this for a while. I remember very, very vividly the first Google slap when I was doing AdWords, and the Google slap was when Google decides that it doesn't like your AdWords ads anymore, so it gives you a bad quality score, which means it's not going to show your ads. Well, I remember the first time it happened, I had just reached the $280 a day plateau, and I remember I was driving. We have a timeshare in Virginia, and I was driving my car down to Virginia Beach, Virginia. And it's like a 9-hour drive, and I had an old beat-up minivan, and I was really in need of a new car, but I'd put off buying it because I was so far in debt. And I was driving down the highway for 9 hours and watching all the cars drive by me the other way, and oh my God, that's a nice car, that's a nice car, that's a nice car. And I was thinking, what am I going to buy? Once I get back, I really want to go shopping for a new car because now I can afford it. Now I'm making $200, $280 a day, so it was on my mind. All these different kinds of cars. Should I get a Dodge, or a van, or a sports car, or a Kia, or whatever? And I was, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got to talk to my wife about this. And she doesn't want to spend this money, but I'm going to have to show her that we're making money now. And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And I got down to Virginia, and we got there on a Saturday, and things were going good, and I had my laptop, and I was always constantly checking my stats. And on Monday morning, I think it was Monday morning or Tuesday morning, I think it was a Tuesday, I logged into my AdWords account in the morning, and normally I was spending so much money before breakfast or something from midnight, and I don't know, $100 in 8 hours or something, and I was making money on eBay, I was making money on AdSense, and I could look at my stats, and I was making money every day. And when I logged into my AdWords account in the morning, where I normally would have spent like $100 by that time, I'd spent like $8. And I had almost no earnings on eBay and almost no earnings on AdSense. I said, something's wrong. My sites must be down. My server must have gone offline or something. And I looked, my server was up, and and I tried bringing my pages up, and they came up. No delay or anything. I said, something's really wrong. And I kept watching all day, and I started surfing the Warrior Forum and these other sites, and I heard the term called Google Slap, and I found out what that was, and they told me that that Google decided they didn't like these kinds of sites, and all of a sudden my $280 a day of income had gone down to about $8 a day, and that was pretty brutal. That had me suicidal, and I'm not just saying that arbitrarily, because I said, oh my God, I'm certainly not going to buy a new car now, and not only that, but I'm not going to be able to shut the store down. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills, and all this was going through my mind. So I quickly tried to figure out what I could do to recover, and fortunately I was able to come up with some ideas and recover real quickly. But those kinds of things happen, and sometimes it's not quite so easy to recover. So again, don't put all your eggs into one basket. Other things can occur. You could write a whole bunch of articles, or you could put an ebook out and start selling a product, and people can steal it from you, or steal the idea from you. You can have the best book in the world on Twitter, and you're selling 100 copies a day, and then somebody has a better book for a cheaper price, and all of a sudden the market's gone for your book. And that's not theft. That's just competition. Your accounts can get shut down. You could have your AdSense account shut down, like mine was, after a while. Or your eBay account shut down, or your server shut down, or your eZine Articles account shut down, or whatever. Things can be taken away from you. If your income is based on somebody else, you're at risk. And likewise, your search engine rankings. That's one of the most at risk things that you can expose yourself to as far as adversity. If you're reliant on a Google algorithm to make you your money, well, you better have other ways to make money too. And that's why I say you got to diversify. You got to build email lists. You got to build your own products. You got to build affiliates to sell your products for you, because if your rankings are bad, then maybe your affiliates rankings won't be, or they'll have an email list to supplement yours. Those kinds of adversity will happen. They have happened. They've happened to me. They've happened to other people, friends of mine, probably some of the people on the call here. I don't know if they want to say anything, but
I was just going to say, as you're going through the list, I was going to go check.
Yeah, well, I laugh, but it's not a laughing matter when it happens, is it?
No, sir, not at that time. But
yeah, no, but we all find ways to recover if we're smart about it, and if we have enough friends, and that's why. The next point that I want to bring out, you want to develop friends. I've written about it a lot. Form friends. Internet marketing can be a very lonely life, because it's just you and the computer. theoretically, because if you have a job, you go into work and you get to go out to lunch with people, or you sit at the desk next to somebody and you get to talk and you get to communicate with people, and if you're having a problem with a project, you can ask your boss for help or something. But if you're an internet marketer and you're all alone, you don't have that unless you join a site, whether you have to join or whether it's free, it doesn't matter. But if you're a member of a site where you can interact and relate and network with people that are going through the same sort of things as you are, then that helps a lot. And form friends, that's not a unique term, but it's something that I coined and I like to talk about a lot. I wrote a report about it, and I'll give it away to people that are on this call. I'll give a link to it in a little bit. But I wrote a report called How to Win Forum Friends and Influence People, because when I was first starting, I mentioned that I had come up with this first $5 a day project that worked so well, and then I talked about it in this forum that I was a member of, and people asked me, hey, tell me more about it. So I did tell them more about it, and they said, okay, what you ought to do is you want to make a book out of it, a report or something. So I started doing that, and I had friends there because I was always chatting to people, and we were friendly. I never met these people, and in some cases I didn't know whether they were male or female or black or white or in America or Indonesia or whatever. It didn't really matter, but they were friends of mine. And one guy helped me put the book together. One guy proofread it for me. The girl gave me some good feedback. Another guy helped me get it approved as a WSO quicker than normally would. Other people would put testimonials in the book, and they read it and give positive feedback for it. And these things all helped, and it also gave me confidence, and also helped me get it out there quicker because I had the confidence and the encouragement, and it was the money, love, speed kind of thing that was at work, because it wasn't just me in a vacuum trying to make it perfect. People saying it's good enough, it's good enough, it's good enough. Just get it out there. We want to see it. We want to see it tomorrow. We don't want to see it next week. And those kinds of friends and encouragers were important.
Social reinforcement.
Yes, that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that too. So you want to find these places where you can develop these friends, and I tell people, I preach and I beg, and as a forum owner that's in my forum all the time, I preach to people, don't be shy. Post. People say, well, I don't have anything good to add. I don't know anything. I said, okay, you don't know anything, but if you got questions, ask the question, because a lot of people have that same question, and they're too shy too. But if somebody asks the question, somebody else is going to answer it, and then all the people that have that question are going to learn from it. They're going to learn from it because you asked the question. So your question is just as important as the answer sometimes, because otherwise it wouldn't get asked and it wouldn't get answered. So those are things that are important to people. So you want to join one or two sites. Really just one, I think, is the most important, because again, it goes back to focus. If you're a member of a mastermind group and a forum, and you go to another forum and you have 8 or 10 places that you go to and surf through and try to keep up with all the time, it's just not possible, as well as get the work done that you need to do. So if you're a member of one or two sites, even just one, and I hope that one, if you make it one, is earn 1K a day. But if not, make it the Warrior Forum or someplace else. Those are important. Get to know people and get to relate to people, and don't be shy about posting. But here's the thing: don't do it alone, because it's a very lonely job, internet marketing, and it takes friends, it takes help, it takes encouragement. And if you don't have that, then you're going to get frustrated and you're going to give up. And that's the thing that really frustrates me when I see people, and I just did an interview with somebody yesterday, and he said, what's the one piece of advice that you would recommend to people that are struggling? And I said, the one piece of advice I have is don't give up too soon. And I said, the other piece of advice says failure is your friend, so fail fast. Now, those two statements seem to be sort of self-conflicting, but they're not. failing fast and getting a failure over with is one thing. That doesn't mean give up completely. It means move on to your next success. So don't give up too soon. Don't give up. You can give up on a particular task quickly. That's good, but don't give up on internet marketing too soon, because a lot of people will say, well, I tried and I failed and I'm just not meant to do this, so I'm going to go back to my job producing widgets for a living again, working for the boss again, whatever, flipping hamburgers at McDonald's again, whatever it happens to be. I said, well, that's good luck, if that's really what you want to do. But if you really want to make it in internet marketing, yeah, you haven't succeeded yet, but you could, and don't give up too soon. Make the friends, and it'll work eventually.
Yeah, the failures you get in this business is, you have to consider it education. You just learn from the mistakes.
Yeah.
And just realize, I can't do that again. I got to do something else, or improve what you did, and just realize what you did wrong and just move on.
Right. And another way I like to look at it and tell people is that let's say, okay, so I spent 3 years making no money and actually losing money because I was spending money on all these bright shiny objects and membership sites I belong to and all that, and a lot of time invested, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 hours a week, on top of my regular retail store job. That's fine. That's all the past, and I chalk that up to being an education. Consider the fact that, let's say I want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a certified public accountant or any kind of professional. How long would I have to go to school? Okay, I'd have to go to college at least 4 years, and then if I was going to be a doctor, I'd have to go to med school, and then I'd have to go through my internship and whatever. And that's, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that, and how many hours and years of work before you start making the money, before you get any return on investment. And I know people, and I know that I'm making more money now than a lot of doctors, I think. And I didn't have to go through all that time. I went through some time, but I didn't have to go through all the aggravation and all the stress that they went through. And I also don't have to have the stressful job that they have. I don't have to keep office hours. I don't have to have a staff. I don't have to have malpractice insurance. I don't have to, if I'm a lawyer, compared to a lawyer, I don't have to go to court and face some ornery judge every Monday morning. I don't have to get interviewed by the press. How dare I defend this serial killer? Because that's what I'm getting paid to do, and I have to do it. I have a pretty stress-free job, and yeah, it took me a while to get there, but it took the doctor a while to get there too. It took the CPA a while to get there too. It took a lot of people, that are professionals making a good living, white-collar workers, a long time to get where they're going to. So the fact that somebody tries to do something in internet marketing and it doesn't work within a week, well, I think that's pretty silly to quit after a week, because you're going to drop out of med school after you started college, in a week, because you don't think you'll be a doctor, because you haven't figured out a cure for the common cold yet. I don't think so. So.
And not doing it alone, Dennis, can help cut that time, that learning curve or whatever that people may be having can cut that so much faster, because you do it like Gene says, you have people that you can lean on, people that you can get help from, and et cetera like that. And that's another powerful thing about not trying to do it alone.
Right, and that's why I set up Earn 1K a day, to encourage people more so, but I never thought it would grow as much as it has. It's just not a big insiders club. It's like 700 members or so, a little bit more than 700. But like you said before, there's a lot of experts in a lot of fields, and a lot of people that can give you feedback on different kinds of things. Pretty much, if you're looking for some help in any IM-related topic, somebody there, or a few people there, are going to be able to help you. So that really helps cut down the learning curve a lot.
Earn 1K a day is my first source of information before Google.
Yep.
Before Google. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm happy to hear that. Very happy. You know.
There is no other place on the web that I go every single day.
Really?
Earn 1K a day. Yeah, I'm serious about that. There are many. I mean, Earn 1K a day is the place where I go to see what's happening and see what people are doing, and just getting to know people and getting the support that I need for my projects. It's just my home front on the internet.
It's usually the first place I check in the morning and the last place I check before I shut down at night.
Yeah, me too. And I check there 85 times in between too. But that's my job. I don't consider it a lot of forums, a lot of membership sites have owners that I think, you know, and I'm a member of a few of them, where the members or the owners really aren't there. They're there on the sales page, and it's their PayPal account that your money goes to, but I don't see them there during the day. But you know, in Earn 1K a day, I'm there. It's my home, and it's my family, and these are my friends, and
it has a family feeling there. It feels like you're at home there.
Yeah, I think so. You know, I'm a little prejudiced, but
Oh, absolutely.
and you know, this last. Go ahead, Gene.
I was going to say, you get to know people in this at Earn 1K a day. You don't just see people come in and out of a forum like you do on, you know, like the Warrior Forum or other forums that are out there. This is a place where we get together and support each other, as opposed to tearing down each other like you see on so many other forums.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, like somebody asks a question about a certain topic of, you know, not to pick on Gene, but if somebody asks questions about, you know, domain names or something, or, you know, what's a good domain name to get? Should I buy a .com or a .net or a .org or something? And, you know, somebody asks that question in a thread, and you know, I might have an opinion, but I won't answer it there because I know that Gene will come by within half an hour or something and answer the question thoroughly for me. And there's, you know, other, you know, on WordPress, Leanne King will handle everything there, and, you know, there's other kinds of topics that the regulars will be around eventually. They'll see it. So that's nice to have those. Especially nice for me because these people aren't paid. You know, they're unpaid staff pretty much. But and that's the last point on this particular note here. Pay it forward. You know, that is a pretty it goes without saying kind of thing that's happened over the years at Earn 1K a day. That people have come and they've benefited from other people, and then, you know, they start learning, and then they start getting more active, and then when some people get, you know, I don't know, whether they're a little burned out or they're doing other things and they're not around quite as often, well, these, you know, sometimes the new blood will start picking up the slack and paying it forward. So that the people that used to be the ones asking the questions now are the ones answering the questions for the newer people, and that's really nice. I see it quite a bit. So it helps everybody, and sometimes I can go away for a while and not worry that you know, that the questions aren't being answered. So so that's nice. Moving along a little bit. Trying to remember what I have in mind here. Your challenge, okay? People that are listening to this call, okay, what am I challenging you to do? You know, this information we provided and all that is good in theory, and I know that a lot of people listen to a webinar, read a book, go through a video course, and then they'll shut it down and put it aside, and within 48 hours they'll have forgotten everything they read or saw. I'm challenging people to take action in some way. And to get out of your comfort zone and take action by doing some of the things that I talk about in $5 a day, whether you buy the book or not, or whether you already have the book or not. I want you to do what I said. I want you to make a project list of things that are going to make you money, conceivably, and to actually every week, you know, every time, you know, if you have a full-time job, you can't do something every week because you don't have 20 or 30 or 40 hours, available to you. Maybe you only got, 2 hours a day or 6 hours on a weekend or something. So maybe it takes you longer than a week to do a particular task or a project. But at least every time you can, go to your list and say, okay, what am I going to do next to make money, to make my internet marketing career move forward? And I like to talk about incremental progress. Every day you want to make some progress forward, whether it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or 2 steps forward or 1 step forward or whatever. Make some sort of forward progress by working on and focusing on that project that you've taken from your list until it's complete. And then when it's complete, hopefully it's going to be a project that's going to be making you some money, and it's going to be giving you confidence to take another project off your list and to work on that, focus on that, make money from that, and keep going in that cycle of lather, rinsing, and repeat. You also want to get outside of your comfort zone. There's been a lot of things that I've done recently, especially since I partnered back in August with Rachel. She's making me do some things that I really wouldn't have done in the past because I was more comfortable in the past, and I was making money in the past, but now I'm making more money because I'm getting outside of my comfort zone. And yeah, you can be successful, if you're doing something and it's working, and you got enough money to provide for your family and your kids and your wife, and pay your mortgage and all that. But you can also be more successful, and I tell people it's not always about the money, or it's not ever about the money anymore, as far as I'm concerned. Before, last year I was already making enough money to meet all my needs, but now there's other things I want to do in life. I want to contribute to other causes, to charities, and all that, and to help people. And it's just more fun for me to do something that's just going to help somebody else, whether it's inside Earn 1K a day or whether it's a customer that's buying one of my products. If it's going to help them make more money, that's important to me, more important than making me money. And I don't say that arbitrarily, trying to make me out to be a good guy. I think I really believe that.
And if you join Earn 1K a day, then Dennis will push you outside of your comfort zone.
Did I do that to you, did I do that to you, Teresa?
Multiple times.
Multiple times?
Yes.
Are you happy that I did?
Very, very happy.
Good. Yeah, I remember when I made that proposal to you, to sell, to help you sell book flips. That I don't think you really were comfortable with that, but you were willing to try it, right? And that worked out pretty well, right?
Yes, it did.
In fact, I remember you being in a not thoroughly positive state of mind at that point in your life, and hopefully that
was a big turning point. That was a big turning point for me.
Yeah, that's important for me to be able to help people make those turning points and to see success. My goal was to have everybody be a little bit successful, because once the momentum starts, it's not going to stop. I'm a big fan of momentum. There's no such thing as perpetual motion, but the law of momentum says a body at rest will tend to remain at rest, and a body in motion will tend to remain in motion. And if you get the momentum going in a forward motion, it doesn't take much work to keep it going in the forward motion. But if you're resting on your laurels, or if you're not doing anything, or if you're refusing to get a project started, if you're refusing to take action because you're not confident, and you're just waiting for perfection, well, that's the worst kind of momentum, because that's the body at rest tends to remain at rest, and as long as you're at rest, you're not going to make any money, you're not going to make any progress, you're not going to have any success. So you want to start the momentum. You want to, whether it's that first $100 a day or $5 a day or $1,000 a day or whatever, again, once you get that, you're going to get it again and again and again and again.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, it's so true. I've seen it. A lot of people don't believe it until they experience it, but it's true. It's true. So that's people listening to this call. That's your challenge. Start taking action. if you don't take action, there's never going to be any result. There's never going to be any forward momentum. So you want to do that. You want to get out of your comfort zone, and you want to take action continuously. Lather, rinse, repeat. I constantly challenging myself, get out of my comfort zone, and it's a hard thing to do. But I remember, I don't know how many years ago it was, but in Earn 1K a Day, I wanted to start doing interviews of people, and I was just so afraid of getting on a phone and a teleseminar software. This is before webinars existed. I was just so afraid of doing that I paid a guy to do that for me. As I said, okay, this is the person I want you to interview. These are the questions I want you to ask him. These are the follow-up questions I want you to ask him if he answers this or that or the other. And he did it for me, and that was great. And at one point I said, okay, I really need to do this myself, because I wanted to interview a guy in Australia, and the guy that was doing the interviews was in England, and it was easier for me to because of time zones to interview the guy in Australia than it was for the guy in England. So I said, okay, I'll do this one. And you know what, it wasn't that hard. And then I got into webinars, and I got into speaking engagements at the seminars we started doing, and that was a lot of anxious times getting out of my comfort zone. But every time you do, you're going to improve yourself, and you're going to look back and say, what was I afraid of? I mean, geez, it's so simple now when you look back at it. So get out of your comfort zone. And a gift I have for the people on this call, if you go to this URL, http://e1kad.com/write, okay, there's going to be a report that I wrote that I mentioned before. It's called How to Win Forum Friends and Influence People. And that's something that I wrote that encourages people to make forum friends and to leverage the forum friends, not by taking advantage of them, by helping them and helping them help you. And you'll find that if you're active in forums or membership sites or our Insiders Club and Earn 1K a Day, you're going to get so much more out of it than if you just sit there and consume. We have a lot of downloads in our download area. We have over 600 downloads right now, and this is March 2011. And if you're listening to this a year from now, there's probably going to be a couple hundred more then than there is now. But there's people that just come there for the downloads, for what I call the stuff. But that's not what the value of Earn 1K a Day is. The value is in the relationships that you build, and the networking that you can do, and the friends that you make. And there's some people that don't download any of the stuff at all. And if you make the forum friends, you're going to get so much more out of everything that you do that you're just not going to believe it. When I wrote this report, I did a study. I went to the Warrior Forum, and it was easier then than it is now to figure out who the posters were or not. But there was so many tens of thousands of people, members there, and I figured out how many there were and how many had made zero post. In other words, hadn't posted at all at the forum, and that was a certain percentage. And then how many had made, I don't know, three or more posts. And then I compared that to Earn 1K a Day. And at the Warrior Forum, it was like, I forget exactly, I wrote it in this report, and it's there. But let's just say that 90% of the people at the Warrior Forum had never had a single post in their life. Well, at Earn 1K a Day, it was like 50% had never had a single post. And at the Warrior Forum, maybe 98% had never had more than 3. And at Earn 1K a Day, maybe 80% had more than 3 instead of just 5% or whatever it was. So it was just a completely different environment in Earn 1K a Day versus the Warrior Forum. And the Warrior Forum is great. I'm not saying it isn't, but we encourage, and I'm there every day, meeting on people to say, hey, they'll send me a PM, they ask me a question, or they send me an email with a question. I say, well, I'm glad to answer your question, but I'd really prefer you to ask it in the forum publicly, because you know what? I may have an answer, but I'm just one person, and there's 700 people in the forum, and there's going to be, not 700 people that have the answer, but maybe 50 people that have a better answer than I have. So you want to get those better answers. And so post publicly and get in the habit of posting publicly. So I don't send people away. I don't discourage them from asking me questions, but I encourage them to ask it publicly. And I say, if you post your question in the forum and I can help you, I'll do it there a lot better than I can do it by email or by PM. And not only that, but you'll get other people with different opinions, and some of their opinions are going to be better than mine anyway. So, and I don't mind that at all. So that's my challenge to you. Read this report, download it, read it. It's free. You don't even need to. I don't think you have to have an opt-in. Pretty sure you don't. If you do, it's just worth it anyway. But I'm pretty sure you don't. So you just download it, read it, take action on it, get outside your comfort zone, start posting in your favorite forum. If that favorite forum is ours, if you're not a member yet, that will be great if you join. I like to make it easy on you. I have 3 main products. We have a lot of products, but there's 3 that I'm especially proud of. One is the ebook that I wrote originally, the $5 a day that we talked about up here, the strategy. That's where I go through all that. It also includes Action Enforcer. Action Enforcer you can buy alone if you want, but you get it as part of the $5 a day system. So if you want both, just buy that. Or even a better deal, if you join Earn 1K a day, if you join our Insiders Club, you get $5 a day there, you get Action Enforcer there, and you get 600 and some other products there for the price of your membership. And we make it really easy on you to join and see if, so it's not something that is a major investment. It's not like you're going to have to max out your credit cards or anything like if you were going to medical school. If you're going to join us, it's relatively easy. I'm not going to say just join for 10 days and download everything and take advantage and then quit, because I know the people that if it's right for them, they're going to know it. If it's not right for them, then they can cancel very easily without even asking me. They just go in their PayPal account and click on the cancel button, so it's very painless. But if you really are enjoying and getting benefit out of Earn 1K a day, and you think you're going to, I want to encourage you, don't join if you can't afford it, because once you get in there, you're not going to want to leave. A lot of other membership site people say that the typical membership site is going to have people that stay on for like 3 to 4 months, and then they turn over. Well, with us, we've got people that have been there since day one when we opened in May 2007. So whatever day today is, when you look at it, there's people on this call like Michael has been here since day one, and probably will be here forever. So he's not the only one. So you're not going to want to leave us. So as risk-free of a trial as you can possibly have. You get to experience everything. There's no things that you can't do. You get in, you can register for the forum, you can make posts, you can make friends, you can download stuff, you can read the $5 a day ebook, you can install Action Enforcer, so where you have to pay $37 right now for $5 a day, you get it along with everything else. And then if you decide you don't like it, well, you just cancel your subscription and you don't continue. But I think you're going to like it. And after listening to the things that I've said and some of the other people on the call here have said, you'll get an idea, I think, of the kind of family we have that are willing to take you by the hand and lead you to the success that as an internet marketer, if you really want to do this, that you're entitled to, that you want, I hope. And that's all I have. What have I forgotten to talk about, Michael, Teresa, Rachel, Gene?
I think you've gotten really good at this webinar stuff and stepping out of your comfort zone there. that was great.
Well, thank you. I forgot to show my screen in the beginning. I don't know if I can fix that or not. So, I still have things to learn and things I forget. But yeah, thanks.
One thing I would like to say, Dennis, don't just go in there and look at just the downloads. Introduce yourself and let people get to know you. I think you'll be really, really surprised at the response you get just from a simple introduction.
Engage, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing about that download area, in fact, I would say if you just join, don't even bother going to the download area, because what you want to do is you want to focus on the best parts. And I'll tell you what the best parts are. And you actually get a series of emails from me from autoresponder when you join. It's a 7-day email series, and day by day it'll tell you, okay, today do this, and then tomorrow, it'll give you another thing. Go over here and introduce yourself or whatever. But the first day we have a section called, I call it the Essentials section. So you want to go there, and that's going to be there's going to be a thread in there in that section that has what I call required reading. Okay, required reading is things like $5 a day. So it'll give you a link to download that, and that's the first thing you want to do on the first day is read that and get a feel for the philosophy and what everybody's talking about. And then there's other sites that are sort of sister sites to Earn 1K a Day that you can join. Learn One Thing a Day and Instant Cash Generators and Super Simple Marketing and things like that. So there's other sites you can join and take advantage of if you have a chance. But the first day I would say download and read $5 a day. Okay. The other important thing that you want to take advantage of in the first week is it's in the download area, but stay away from the regular downloads. Go to the interviews and webinars. We've got dozens of interviews, and this is pretty much exclusive content pretty much to Earn 1K a Day people. Webinars that we've done with other experts, interviews that we've done. These are pretty much no-pitch interviews where people are telling everybody their techniques and their tactics and the things that made them successful. One guy who joined us years ago when he was just starting internet marketing, his name's James Schramko, and he's fairly famous, but he's also under the radar, so a lot of people may not have heard from him. But I remember that the first time he posted that he made his first 1K a day, and then he posted a little bit after that. He made another 1K a day, and I started getting friendly with him, trying to find out what he was doing, and he started sharing with the forum. And pretty much what he was doing was something that anybody in the forum could have done. He was taking things that were in the download area and using them as bonuses for a product that he had put together. He put together a simple little product of something that Michael had said something about something that that other people don't know, and you don't appreciate the fact that they don't know it. Well, he had a product that he put together for a software product. He had a cheat sheet kind of thing. So he released that, and he put bonuses from our site, and he started selling tons of those on the Warrior Forum and elsewhere. So and James started building up his business by leveraging that product and that list and those techniques, and now he's making it's over 7 figures a year, I know, and he's one of the biggest stars in the forum, and those things happen. So I got 2 or 3 interviews with him, or an interview with him, and a couple webinars. Those are in there. He shared all his techniques and all his case studies. There's dozens of people in there that I've interviewed or that the other guys interviewed, or we've done webinars with, or whatever that are in there, and those are the unique content within Earn 1K that I would say focus on first. There's also a section that we call success stories, and that's what really encourages me. It gives a lot of people encouragement, and also gives a lot of people ideas. If somebody's really crushing it, doing something a certain way, well then other people will start trying the same thing, and that's good. That's something that we encourage, and people aren't afraid to divulge their techniques. They don't generally divulge their niches, what they're doing it with, but they divulge the way they're doing it. And those are the things you want to go after too. You want to go to the success stories, download the interviews, the other people explaining how they made their income and their successes, and start to feel the energy that's in there and how people are succeeding, and then you'll get an idea and a confidence that you can do it yourself, and then you also start to feel out the actual stars in the forum, the people that are contributing regularly and that are willing to post and to respond to you. If you were to ask a question, you see that Michael or Teresa or Gene or Rachel or me or Leanne or on and on and on are going to be answering questions of a certain type. You're going to start making friends with those people, appreciating those people, and then following those people, and whether you make them a mentor or not, whether they know it or not, that's going to help you, an untold amount. So in your first 10 days, that's your challenge. Go in there and do that and get that out of the site, and then see if you want to stay. And I think you probably will, because I know that there's $20,000 or $30,000 worth of downloads you can get. But I also know that you're not going to want to leave because of the friends that you're going to develop there, and also the fact that we're going to add to that treasure chest of downloads every week. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to call it a day. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody for helping me, and